Divide it by 2. Square it. Every single time, take this number, divide it by 2, square it. So 10 squared is 100. And then whatever this is inside here is always what goes right there, 10. So that's your answer to number 1. Number 2 is a little bit harder because it's a fraction. Is how do you do negative 1/9 divided by 2? I don't want to write divided by 2. You just do same thing right there. Divided by 2 or times by a half are the same. So the number that should go here is, well, first, what's this number inside there? 1/18. And then when you square it, you got to know what 18 times 18 is to plug it in, right?
It was something like
324. So it should be, I want you guys to leave them as fractions. 1/324, 1 minus 1/18 squared. Then 3, we haven't practiced factoring for a while, so we get close to the test. We better knock this. I'm going to move the 12 over the other side first. Because remember when we factor, we need to get it equal to 0. Okay, what's the next step? Marcus? Next step? Yeah. 5 times 4. So remember, I don't know, we did this once, we did B, and then here was AC. So we did, this is 20, this is negative 12. What numbers multiply to 20 and add to negative 12? Yeah, so you got to be careful with your signs. You guys do this sometimes. Cameron, when you did it, did you put the 2 or the 10 next to it? Or did you do this way?
Yeah, I did that way.
Did you do 2 or 10?
-2.
-2. Okay, so if I look at the first 2, what number will come out of the first 2? 2 and an x. And then when you do this part, look and see. Always times it back out to make sure. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 1 is 2x. And then what comes out of 10 and 5? 5. And I need to take out a negative in order to get a positive 2x minus 1. So double check. Negative 5 times 2x, negative 10x, negative 5 times negative 1, positive 5. Yeah. As long as they were the same, it's fine. And then your answer just turns out to be, it should be the same at the end. So they both have a 2x minus 1, so you can take that out, and you're left with 2x minus 5. And then the thing to remember about this one is it was solved, so you're not done. You factored it, but you have to finish solving it. So you have this one equals 0, and this factor equals 0. So you get 2 answers, 1/2 and 5/2. Okay, 4, solve by completing the square. This is what do I have to do to start completing the square?
get the p's on the same side.
Okay, get the p's on the same side, so I got those there, and I put whatever's on the other side over here, okay? So subtract 14p, add 100. Now you need to do what you did in number 1 and 2 on the quiz and figure out, just ignore the right side for a minute. Figure out if this is 14, what goes there. So did you figure out what that would be if that was a 14, what that needs to be? Okay, 49. And if I add it to one side, I've got to add it to the other side. So we did negative 14 divided by 2 squared. That's what we added to both sides. And now the next step down is just figuring out what that is squared. So this is minus 14, and this should be half of it, negative 7. And then this side is just 149. And And now it's back to where we started when we did the first section of the chapter, where we had it like this, we just had to do what, to get rid of the square? Yeah.
Okay, so I was wondering what happens to the first 49.
Okay, so if you try to think of this and you factor it, if you have p squared minus 14p plus 49 is where that all disappears to. It's what multiplies to 49 and adds to negative 14. It factors into this. And notice if you times this back out, you get that p times p is p squared minus 7p minus 7p is minus 14p. 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, so I square root both sides, and I have to do plus or minus square root of 149. Does 149 have factors? No? That makes that nice. So now you just add 7. So that's your answer right there. Well, those two are your answers. It's two answers right there. Okay, number 5. We're going to do a little bit with this today too. You just need to basically tell me where you take the graph of x squared and shift it to get to this. So if it's a minus 3 in here, where does it shift it? Right, left, up, or down?
Right.
So right 3, and the plus 1 shifts it
Up.
up 1. Okay.
Alright.
And the thing that we're going to do with this today is we're going to do things like, we're going to say things like g of x equals f of x plus 2 or something like that. And so you have to take, to find g of x, you have to take f of x, and you have to plug in x plus 2 everywhere there's an x. So if it's inside of the function, this, something like this would shift it left 2, just like it does up here, just in with it. And this would shift it up 5. But it's not going to necessarily be a specific function like f of x equals x squared. It might just be, it's still going to work the same. Whatever f happened to be, it shifts left 2 and up 5. Just new function. Okay, figure out your score. Pass that up. Okay, what's the first step on this one? Divide by 5. Yeah, we have to start out with a 1n squared every time. So you always want to get a 1n squared. So you're going to have n squared plus 2n equals, and I'm just going to leave this, it doesn't simplify. I'm just going to leave it like that. So now I need to decide what I'm going to add to both sides. So what number do I divide and square? Yep, so 1 squared, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So add 1 here, add 1 here. And if you want to be lazy like I'm going to be, you just go negative 93 fifths plus 1. And then, I don't even have to get compound negative 88 fifths. Okay? So this is negative 88 fifths right there. And this is what squared?
1 squared. And
N plus 1. Okay, now how do you get rid of the squared? Square root, so that side's gone, and this side is that, which is kind of a pain to simplify, right? I'm going to move the 1 over, but then start to simplify this. What about the negative? What does the negative do? I, and then I have the square root of 88. I have the square root of 5. What am I going to do with that? What do you want to do with that?
would you try to get that there down the line?
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to want to, I want to get rid of that. So, 22 and 4. Oh, that's probably the best one, right? Because then you can do times by the square root of 5. So it's ugly. That's why I would never do this this way, even if I had to. 2i over, what's the bottom going to be? 5. And then what is the square root of 22 times the square root of 5? 110. Okay, so there's that one. Ugly. Yeah.
all of the 5, but then the negative one is 5.
Okay, so they might have had it like this, like negative, instead they, just because I think it might, no, I don't know why, they just put it like this, because this is negative 5 over 5, negative 1.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. So either way, so if you wrote that, that would be fine, just because 5 over negative 5 is negative 1. So if you did the quadratic formula, this is what you'd get. You might get it faster with the quadratic formula. But it would have been all over 2a, so you still would have had to pull stuff out. It still would have been ugly. Yeah. Of course, we didn't do an easy one first. This is a hard one.
So how you have 110 at the end, did you not need to like factor that out or whatever?
Well, I know already that it's 22 times 5. It's just 11 times 2 times 5. So but if I needed to, I would. Yeah, if it would have had another 5, then we would have. But actually, if it had another 5, then you would have simplified it like right here. Okay. Okay. So Cameron, you guys got this, and Rocco, you guys got this one done, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what you did first.
With 1.
Okay, but what about the 9?
You have to do it.
You divide by the 9 first.
So the thing to remember, this is kind of hard, but remember that is 1/9. Which kind of goes with our quiz. So we had a 1/9. Okay, so what do I add to both sides?
1/9.
Half of 1/9,
Which is
118. So you can either think of it or do 1/9 times a half.
So you have like 1 over 14.
Okay, so 84 nights and 1 over 324. $3,025 over 324.
And that's exactly.
And that what?
That's
These are ugly. These are really ugly ones. Good. At least you had lots of practice on the other ones first. Okay, what number is going in here? P and then what goes right here?
1/8.
Yeah, half that every time. Right, whatever this was inside there. Okay, now square root it. P plus 1 over 18. Can you take the square root of 325? 3025? I don't know. Is this supposed to be 24 right now?
That's 55. The 24.
Oh, what is that? Yeah.
3,025 square is 55.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you take the square root of 3025?
It's 55.
That's 55.
Well, that's terrible.
And this is 18. Yeah, so this is going to be way better, right, than the last one. So when I subtract this was 55 and this was 18, right? But now you got to remember to finish, so I need to do -1 18th plus 55, so 54 18ths, right? And then simplify that. What? 3. And then -1 minus 55, so -56 over 18. and this one are your answers. Let me show you guys something that it's kind of helpful for you too. If, like this originally, if you get answers like this, it would have factored. You could have done this by factoring. If I would have wanted to factor it, I can factor it super fast now that I know the answers. Because remember when we rewrote the equations, if this was a 3, then you knew that x minus 3 had to be a factor. Right? Because this gives you an answer of 3. And then the other one, there's a couple things you know. You know that it has to give you an answer of 28/9. And you also know that the first two things, this one times this one, sorry I need to put a p instead of x. This one times this one has to give you 9p squared. So what does that one have to be right there? 9. I can kind of see it from here too. These two have to multiply 84. I see a 28. I put plus 28. Then you get these answers. P equals negative 28 over 9 and p equals 3. So if your question, say your question is just to factor this and you're having a hard time factoring it, you can always go down, solve it with the quadratic formula, and then go back and be like, oh yep, I factored it. Even though really you did it. You did, but you did it by according to